Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have just been banned from this year's major royal wedding. And it is a particular humiliation for the so-called Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Well, let's start with Meghan and Harry because they've been snubbed by their family.
This is a brutal snub.
Meghan Markle has just had a date night with a Finnish man who has been accused of both sexual harassment and racism.
Meghan Markle come speak at an event for bullying when she's one of the biggest bullies, in my opinion.
Meghan Markle has rebranded yet again. But is it I have a headache chic or modern domestic?
An envelope that never arrives. That's it. No dramatic announcement, no press release, no public stripping of titles or formal exile. Just a wedding invitation that was never sent, and the silence around that absence says everything. June 6th, a small church in the Cotswolds. Peter Phillips marries Harriet Sperling. King Charles will be there. Queen Camilla, William and Catherine, Princess Anne, Zara and Mike Tyndall. Even Beatrice and Eugenie, whose father's name has been dragged through the Epstein files all year, are on the guest list. They're in. Harry and Meghan are not. No call. No explanation. Not even a polite excuse. One insider told Hello magazine that Peter and Harry simply lost touch. Two cousins who grew up together at Balmoral, who drank together as young men, who stood shoulder to shoulder at royal funerals, and they just drifted apart. Like old university friends who stopped texting. Nobody believes that. You don't lose touch with your own by accident. You make a choice. And the choice Peter Phillips made, or rather, the choice that was made for him, is the clearest signal yet of where Harry and Meghan actually stand with the family they left behind. Here's what makes this particular. Peter Phillips wasn't just a background cousin at royal events. This was the man physically placed between William and Harry at Prince Philip's funeral in 2021, chosen specifically because the family was genuinely worried the two brothers couldn't stand next to each other without it becoming a scene. Peter was the one trusted enough to stand between them. He knew both of them that well, and now he hasn't spoken to Harry in years. Peter went to Harry and Meghan's wedding in 2018. Harry attended Peter's first wedding back in 2008. Shared holidays, shared memories, decades of family time that just ended, not with a fight anyone publicly knows about, not with a dramatic falling out, just a slow, deliberate silence. Royal commentators have been saying it openly for months now. The young royals, William, Catherine, Zara, Peter, they've moved on. Whatever door was left cracked open after the Oprah interview, after Spare, after the Netflix series, that door is now closed. Not slammed, just quietly, firmly shut. And the guest list at this Cotswolds wedding is the proof. What makes it sting even more is the timing. The same week Peter and Harriet's June wedding was being confirmed in the press, Meghan was in Geneva giving speeches at the World Health Organization. Harry was at home in Montecito, and the contrast between what was happening in that small English church and what was happening in California was almost too painful to watch. Almost. There's a version of this story where Harry and Meghan's exclusion from the Phillips wedding is just one data point in a long, slow separation from the royal family. But that version misses something important. This isn't about the past. This is about what just happened. Let's go back a few weeks. Meghan flew solo to Geneva for the World Health Organization's Global Symposium on Child Safety Online. No Harry. Just her, a team, and what was meant to be her coronation as a serious global voice on children and technology. The crowds didn't show up. Side-by-side photographs circulated online almost immediately. Catherine was in Italy that same week. Crowds pressed against barriers, cameras flashing, people calling her name across the street. Geneva had empty pavement. There's a famous shot now of a woman standing in the background during Meghan's outdoor speech, completely ignoring her, calmly adjusting her own coat, waiting, it turned out, for a bus. She was literally at a bus stop. She wasn't there for Meghan at all. That image became a joke that wrote itself. And then, while Meghan was recovering from the optics of the empty crowd, something worse happened. At a WHO dinner in Geneva, a Finnish politician named Ville Rydman posted a smiling selfie with Meghan on social media. He captioned it simply, "Dinner with Meghan." Within hours, people started looking into who exactly Ville Rydman was. 9 women have accused him of harassment. 6 of them said their encounters with him happened when they were between 14 and 17 years old. There are also leaked text messages showing him using racial slurs about black people and referring to Middle Eastern people as incomprehensible monkeys and desert monkeys. These aren't old rumors. This is an active political scandal in Finland right now. He posted the photo himself. He tagged it himself. He called her a self-proclaimed champion of women, the campaigner for racial justice. He knew exactly what he was doing. Meghan's team scrambled. A spokesperson said she was approached for photos by several attendees throughout the dinner and couldn't realistically vet everyone who asked for a selfie. That's fair as far as it goes, but the damage landed anyway. This is exactly the kind of thing that happens when you're operating without proper on-the-ground support in a foreign country. Royal commentators have been warning about this for years. A slim staff, limited local intelligence, and no real gatekeeping. That evening in Geneva is what that looks like in practice. The Daily Mail reported, "She looked nervous and tense for the rest of the trip. You can understand why." Here's where it gets complicated. Because while all of that was playing out in Switzerland, Harry was back home in California, and the family he'd left in England was quietly finalizing a guest list that didn't have his name on it. The Peter Phillips wedding confirmation hit the press like a quiet thunderclap. Hello Magazine ran with the story. A friend of the couple confirmed Harry hadn't been invited. Peter and Harry haven't spoken for several years and have simply lost touch. That was the official line. And then the comment sections exploded because people remembered. They remembered 2021, the funeral. Peter standing between the two brothers. They remembered that Peter had known Harry his entire life. Knew him as a child, knew him as a teenager, knew him as a young soldier. They remembered that this was the same Peter Phillips, whose mother is Princess Anne, the hardest working royal in the family. The woman who raised her children as private citizens on purpose because she understood something about the institution that others had forgotten. Anne refused to give her children royal titles. Peter and Zara grew up normal, went to regular schools, built regular careers. That decision, made decades ago, turned out to be one of the most prescient things any royal parent has ever done. And now Peter's wedding is essentially a roll call of working royal still standing. Plus the York sisters, who at least have the excuse of being their father's collateral damage rather than the architects of their own exile. Harry and Meghan don't have that excuse. Royal commentators have been putting it plainly. The fear inside the family isn't personal anymore. It's practical. Every private moment Harry has been part of in the last 5 years has eventually become content. A book, a documentary, an Oprah interview, a Netflix series. Staff members at the Sussex's events have been quoted in ways that suggest recording is always happening somewhere. Nothing is off the record. Nothing is just family. At the Duke of Westminster's wedding last year, there were reports Harry wasn't invited then either, and William was best man. That was the moment the pattern became undeniable. You don't invite the person who might show up to your cousin's wedding, effectively taking mental notes for the next memoir. You don't invite the couple whose presence would instantly shift the focus of the day away from the bride and groom. Peter and Harriet wanted an intimate celebration in the village where they grew up. That's it. They wanted one day that was just theirs. And the person most likely to make that impossible got cut. While Harry was absorbing this, or not absorbing it, yet, depending on who you believe, Meghan was back home doing something her own PR team reportedly tried to talk her out of. She posted wedding photos on Instagram, never-before-seen images from their 2018 ceremony, the 8th anniversary, a crescent moon emoji, and the song she chose to overlay them, Forever Your Girl by Paula Abdul. Royal commentator Angela Levin noted it almost immediately. That song doesn't read like a love letter. It reads like a warning. You're not getting away from me. Forever Your Girl. Let's put the full picture together, because once you see all of it at once, the Geneva disaster and the wedding exclusion and the Instagram post, it stops looking like a bad week. It starts looking like a collapse that's been building for a long time. The wedding photos Meghan posted landed badly for one specific reason. She posted them on Instagram, the same platform she had stood at a podium in Geneva the previous day to denounce, Mark Zuckerberg's network. The same social media she described as part of a dangerous bargain that comes at the cost of childhood innocence. She gave the speech on a Tuesday. She posted the photos on a Wednesday. And what did those photos show? A glimpse inside the private reception where Elton John performed, Harry hugging Meghan's PR friend, candid moments that were never meant to be public, from an event the royal family attended in good faith as a private family occasion. Not a single royal appears prominently in any of them. Just Meghan's mother, Doria, in the foreground, and a glimpse of King Charles in the background, almost airbrushed to the margins of her own wedding album. Then there was the other photo, the one that came before the trip to Geneva. Meghan posted an image of herself standing in front of an enormous walk-in wardrobe. Multiple sources estimated the clothing visible in the frame at around $250,000 worth. At her feet, sitting on the floor, was her 4-year-old daughter, Lilibet. The child was positioned with her back to the camera, head down, in what several commentators described as a posture of submission, while her mother stood above her, surrounded by luxury. Angela Levin pointed out that the child appears to have a damaged foot in the image. Others noted something else. Lilibet, at 4 years old, already seems to know she's not allowed to face the camera. Never turns around, hair uncut and messy. A child trained to be invisible until her presence is needed for a shot. The same week, Meghan gave a speech about protecting children from the harms of social media exposure. She posted a photo of her 4-year-old on social media, positioned at her feet. The same week, she denounced Instagram. She sold jam and candles through Instagram. The same week she was photographed at empty pavements in Geneva, she tried to launch a 4th rebrand of her lifestyle brand, As Ever, a promo video that became an instant joke online. Meghan sniffing flowers. Meghan sitting on a kitchen counter in what appeared to be someone else's property. The neighbor's garden used for filming her Netflix show, not her own home. Thousands of dollars of diamond jewelry and an $8,000 Cartier bracelet, while trying to sell relatable homemade preserves. The trademark application for the As Ever name had reportedly already been rejected. A New York-based fashion company owns those rights. Whatever clothing line was being planned, including the one multiple commentators believe was inspired by Princess Diana's actual wardrobe, can't launch under that name. As for the Hollywood Support Network, Sources close to the situation say it's quieter than it used to be. The Obamas have cooled. The Clooneys are less visible than they once were. Even Oprah, who opened her Montecito neighborhood to them, has stepped back. The A-list made a quiet collective calculation somewhere along the way. Being photographed near the Sussexes now damages your own brand. That is a brutal thing to say. It is also, apparently, what people are saying. So this is what June 6th actually represents. Not just a wedding they weren't invited to. It's a mirror. Peter Phillips is marrying his second wife in a small church in the English countryside, surrounded by the people he loves and trusts. King Charles will be there. William and Catherine will be there. Princess Anne will watch her son walk down the aisle. And 8 time zones away, in a Montecito mansion that costs more than most people will earn in a lifetime, Harry will be refreshing a news feed, looking at photos of a family that has quietly, carefully, without any drama at all, moved on without him. The door didn't slam, it just closed. And the envelope, the one that was never sent, is never coming. What this particular moment reveals isn't really about the Phillips wedding. It's about the difference between exile and irrelevance. Exile implies the other person is still thinking about you, still tracking you, still worried about what you might do. Irrelevance is something else. It means the family has made its peace, built its plans, arranged its seating charts, and you're simply not a variable in the equation anymore. That, more than any official statement or strip title, is what the Sussex story looks like in the summer of 2025. Not a dramatic ending, just a slow, quiet disappearing.